Well, speaking of what's in AEW in every segment, Daniel Garcia. We can't do a program without Danny against Bryan Danielson. So we'll talk about the ratings in a second. This was the TV main event, and here's we start out with a 10-team, 20-man battle royal. Then we go to MJF and CM Punk. And by the time we get to the last half hour or 45 minutes of this show, we've got Starks against 10, Cargill against the Bunny, Keith Lee being emasculated, and Bryan Danielson against Daniel Garcia. And not only is Danielson versus Garcia not exactly an attractive marquee match, since Garcia has been on every fucking AEW program for the last 3 months and is yet to win, ever, but also they've done this backwards. They started with the main events and took us all the way to the preliminaries. Why would anybody stay to watch this? They built the story in that Danielson's trying to get Moxley to join him in some violence course, and he's trying to dare Daniel Garcia to be violent. Bryan Danielson's a heel. Daniel Garcia's a heel. Daniel Garcia's friends are heels. Why do we care to watch this fucking match? The only people this is going to hook are the people that just want to see Bryan Danielson work. Me being one of them. But obviously, not the entire world is not enamored of watching Bryan Danielson perform his art on job guys. And they advertise this as the main event. And Danielson, again, he's effortless, puts on a clinic. Daniel Garcia is a good wrestler. He's good with mat wrestling. He needs to fill out weight-wise. He needs some facials. He needs some personality and some charisma. Maybe some will come out when he gets older. Because what did we hear? He's 22 years old or whatever? But right now, no. Bleh. Not to be seen constantly like this. They went through a break. And the people in the building, the AEW fans, were on their asses. It's not a TV main event. It's an opportunity to see Bryan Danielson in tights. And meanwhile, Excrement is trying as hard as he can, doing nothing else but talking Daniel Garcia over, because he's not smart enough to realize the way you get Daniel Garcia over in this environment is talk about how instead of Daniel Garcia surprise everybody, Daniel Garcia could score an upset. No, he's not going to. You get him over by saying, Daniel Garcia got to be in over his head in this one, but boy, he's putting on a surprising performance, but you know that there's no way that Garcia at his level of expertise or his level of experience is going to be able to, oh shit, but he's giving it all he's got. You don't just start saying Daniel Garcia could very well upset Bryan Danielson here. Danielson's still the best wrestler in the company. Talk like you know it. And Danielson gave him a lot, but never really lost complete control, and finally stomped him and triangled him with the legs and hit the double bicep and got a tap out. And that was fine. But then, again, they have some ideas, but they don't know how to pick the people to perform the ideas. Danielson asked the fans if Daniel Garcia was violent enough, and so there was two heels having a match. Bad. They like Danielson because he's great. But then 2.0 jump Danielson from behind and start kicking the shit out of him. Jobber heels on a top guy kicking the shit out of him. So Moxley can come in from the back door to his music and shit can the heels out of the ring and then have a face-to-face with Danielson. And right then my DVR froze because they were so close to going off the air because they can't time their shit. It would have been a nice angle if they had credible heels in there to do, even mid-card heels that have won some and lost some, but was a recognized name at least, instead of the guys that for some reason, because they have pictures of Tony Khan and a Dalmatian, they've been on every TV program for the last however many months doing jobs. So this show started in the penthouse and finished firmly in the outhouse. What were your thoughts?
Like Danielson, I think he's doing great work, but obviously I wasn't too high on this late, because I did watch the show live, and I was a little tired by this point, and now here's Danielson and Garcia, who, unfortunately, at this point, I'm not caring too much about. He's one of these guys, like, there was an OVW or something like that for...
Yeah.
Or your OVW, not modern OVW. There was a Jim Cornette's OVW, and you had the Daniel Garcias and the Dante Martins and these guys that can work with each other in that environment and learn. It would be one thing, but instead, Daniel Garcia arrived. I thought showed a lot of potential. I like the way he works. I even like his look. But we've seen him on TV. Like you just said, he never wins a match. He's aligned with 2.0, who, although they show some charisma,
never win a match.
Never win a match. So they're treated...
say, but they won on YouTube.
And who watched? I didn't. So
the same people that's already watching the TV program, just not as many of them.
Moxley having to have his music played so he could randomly show up with a security guard to walk through the fans. Where was he? Was he getting a hot dog? Was he hitting the head? Where was he? Where was John Moxley that he was prepared?
He was waiting just for the exact moment when he figured that Danielson needed him the most. What a friend.
Not really feeling the Danielson-Moxley stuff. And that's really all I have to say about this. I didn't like the way the show ended. Well, I thought the show was downhill after the MJF segment. Naturally, it's one of the all-time great segments, but there was also a lot of bad shit on this show. Although, best Chris Jericho segment in a long time. A lot of that's due to Kingston, but I also think Jericho stepped it up a little bit. But
I agree with that.
Also a lot of really bad shit on the show. That Pac match may be I say Pac match. Pac and Bizarro Penta with Druid Alex versus the Guardians of the Night of Black with their friend Buddy. That's an all-time bad thing if you really think about it. But other than that, not a great show.